I guess I have to speak my language because that's how I was taught. And many of you is going to be foreign language. No, just kidding. This is my language, and I'm from Alaska, and I grew up in Alaska. I grew up off the land. English is my second language, so Gwich'in is my first language. So to introduce yourself properly back home, we had to introduce ourselves in our language, and who is our mother and their mother. So this is how it goes. Sarah James Olshi Shahan Shiti Zais James Olshi and Shahan Martha James Olshi. Martha James Arctic Village Gwich'in Aha with Reverend Albert E. Trit Olshi. Achan Sarah Trit Oshi, and she teach in Birch Creek Gwich'in Aha, other Witty Birch Creek James Oshi, other Wahanton Exnes James Oshi, Isha Gwich'in Isha. I said, I come from, my mother's name is Martha James, and my father's name is Isaiah James. My mother's father, his name is Reverend Albert E. Tritt, and his wife named Sarah Tritt. And my father his name is Isaiah James, and his father's name is Birch Creek James, and he's from Birch Creek. He's from a Salmon family. My father is from Salmon family because he's from Yukon, the big Yukon River in Alaska, and they do get salmon, and they do get caribou too. And his mother's name is Agnes, so I got both of my grandma's name. My name is Sarah Agnes James. I'm proud and honored to have both of my name. I usually start out talking about where I'm from because and who I am, and in order to everybody to understand how I got here and who to thank the most is I'm really honored to be on the land of the first people of this land, and I'm honored that and respect that, and it's a beautiful people, beautiful country. And my mom calls this country land of plenty because it's close to ocean. You got forests, you got river, and at home, we are long distant people because where I'm from is semi-desert Arctic. There's hardly any tree during bow and arrow days, but now, because of climate change, a lot of growth now, and a lot of other animals that never used to be there comes with a change. And so, but the caribou I'll be talking about most of the time, they've been there for many years, and we've been there for many years. So it's kind of harsh condition, life. My people live in that kind of country. So as I grow up, I don't even know how to speak English most of the time. When I was growing up to 13 years old, my parents raised me out in the land, and we'd be 50 miles from the nearest neighbor. But even then, we have to live in a two world, and Western world and our traditional way in order to make it in this world. And it still is for many of us, Native American, or the indigenous people of all the land throughout the world. They have to live in a two world. And it's not easy. It's getting easier because we talk about it and you're learning about it, and that's why you're here, because you want to make it better, and we want to make it better. So my story could be really long because I'm an elder and I like to talk and I had a lot of experience. It was my birthday a couple of days ago, and I'm already pushing. I can't believe it. I'm already pushing 76 years. All last 5 days. So I was on the 27th. So so I'm from Arctic Village. Arctic Village is located northeast Alaska interior, where my people are not near coastline. They're inland, and we call ourselves Gwich'in. And when we refer to ourselves as Gwich'in, that means peoples. And when we talk about we're WWU, that means we're humble people. And that means Indian people, I guess, or humble people. We call ourselves WWU, humble people. So we always been there, and we believe that we never came from the land bridge. We live in an area of northeast interior Alaska, and north of Yukon Territory, some of the Northwest Territory, McKenzie Delta area. And altogether, there's a border between us for 150 years or so now. But we're still one nation of people. There's 15 villages altogether. We speak one language, which is Gwich'in, and we depend on one caribou herd, which is Porcupine River caribou. And we speak the same language. We're related somehow or another. But we got separated by the border, and back in 1988 there was another threat to the whole Gwich'in Nation, and the oil company wanted gas and oil up in the coastal plain of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge under a congressional term they call it 1002 area, and they left it up to the Congress. And the rest is Arctic National. It's all Arctic National Wildlife, the coastal plain and the whole 19 million acres of Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. But the 1002, or the coastal plain of that Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, that's the one they think there might be a oil or there might not be a oil. So when they made that Arctic National Wildlife Refuge a public interest land, they left it to the Congress to decide if they're going to develop or not. So we've been fighting, and back in 1988, the whole nation was alarmed because they were flying over our head. They said they're going to go ahead and get in there, and not once did we got mentioned. And in those days, nobody even know there was Gwich'in. Nobody even know there is porcupine caribou. Nobody even know there is Arctic Village. And because we're Gwich'in people are last people that's contacted by so-called Columbus discovery. They came in as a whaler up north for their oil and all that in those days. And they covered that area, and from, where are we now? Oh, I thought we were still in New York. Well, anyway, from Hudson River on up, a trapper came up. So we kind of got caught in between. So we're really the last one to be contacted by. My people were healthy then, and lots of them organized very well. And our people only die of old age because they were well, healthy, and organized. And one story told me from Arctic Village looking up, and this lady told a story way back then. How much skin hut? We live in a skin hut, caribou skin hut. I'm going to sing caribou skin hut soon, and tell you more about it. And she saw from this end to that end, just full of skin hut. And the smoke coming out straight. I guess it's nice and calm that day because it was pointing up straight. And they look like porcupine quill, she said. And the way, that space and how they used to live, we kind of count that, how many people was gathered there. And it tells us it's almost 100,000 people. And today there's only 8,000 of us, even though we are the last one to be contacted by so-called Columbus discovery. So that's how hard it hit us. And we're not the only one. Across the board with the indigenous people, it's the same story. So because the disease came in and different ways it came in and all that kind of stuff that really, and for our people, the way I dress for the summer or using the glove, and we only dress to survive, and we only carry things that will survive. We own very little, and we use very little based on need and not on greed. And we even carry that caribou skin hut. It's tan and treated so well that it's like a portable tent. They carry the poles and the tent. They live in that tent summer and winter. And they take very good care of it. And that's how my people were. And so it didn't take very long for our people to die off, because we are long-distance people, because our land is huge and it's semi-desert. So we follow the caribou, we gather food. That's how we used to live. We used to be nomadic people. And Arctic Village used to be the favorite stopover when they were nomadic people. And back when the Arctic Village became, they had to get into village life because today, where I grew up as colonized into village life. And the government was telling our parents back then that if their kids is not going to go to Western school, there's a chance they're going to get adopted out, be taken by the church or boarding place or a foster home. For that reason, our people have to settle one place and try to hold on to more place, but there was not enough of us. And there's a trading post that a lot of people got attracted to, because when the trapper came, they came only for trapping fur price. And how they trap and how they got their fur is not a good way. And that's not how we do it. And they kill a lot of animal. And when they did that, it was hard for our people to go. They only know hunting and fishing and survive that way. And when they did that, it was hard on them to hunt and get something to eat. And a lot of my people died from starvation and sickness and all that. There's 5 death places in the Gwich'in Nation, and our people with leading us spiritually, by church or by our way, they go over there and pray so they can get blessed and put them to rest, because they didn't have chance for that, so they did that. So once they did that, then we can go out and tell our story, because when you don't put people to rest, their spirit is loose, and you have to put them to rest in order to be strong people. So we did that in many ways, with so many people helping us. And we feel strong. I feel strong, just me being here speaking, because I know my people are resting now. And so Arctic Village today, we got no running water, no roads. We do have running water, river, and creeks, and glacier water, and all that. We talk about, you hear across the board, you hear about water is life. Water is life. And our people, and even, I know this, I try to practice it, but there is some our elders still practice what water they drink. It's like a calendar. Like in the summer, middle of the summer, they don't drink river water until the end of, middle of the summer, when everything settled. And then after that, they drink that river water until fall time, until the snow come in December. Then they change to water under the snow, that glass, the crystal one. And that's for drinking. They could use those water, any water for washing and whatever, but to drink. And then after that, come April or March, when the snow melts, then that icicle is no good anymore. So they use ice from the river. They chop the ice off and they warm up that water, boil it into water. That's what they drink until when ice go out on the river, there's ice on the side. That's what we pick to drink. And then after that, there's a creek. Sometimes it runs into the river from the mountain, or one close to Arctic Villages we call Glacier Creek, because glacier builds up every winter. And by the end of the summer, there would be only one little chunk or like that. But now with global warming, climate change, the ice of that glacier is gone by the middle of the summer. So that's how careful they are about their drinking water. It's our traditional way. It's like that kind of system they have all over. And I think water is important to keep it clean, and be very careful about what kind of water you drink. So Arctic Village have electricity now is generator run by diesel, but the council are working on alternative energy. Every house going to have a panel. They're building one over my new house right now. And it's not going to be mine, but it's going to be tribal, and it's going to help our energy. And we are working on stuff like that. And we are working on solid waste, and we are working on keeping the land clean out there, and not leaving anything behind, because our way back in the bow and arrow days again, our people, I talk too much because I got a lot of times. Back in those days, I have allotment which I claim because I have a right to claim it under a Native American, it's called Indian Reorganization Act, it's allotment. And I was 9 years old last time I was on it, and they said, no, you can't get it because you gotta have evidence that you've been there. And you gotta have proof that you've been there. And I said, we do have, and it's burned down as a forest fire, natural fire, 2 times. So everything that might be their trail or that old cabin that caved in after a while, all that got burned up. So completely, evidence are not there. So I have to tell my story in order to get it. I said, our people never leave anything behind when we camp here for winter, and being nomadic people or here, we don't leave not even a bone. My mom used to make us throw those bones in the river, or it's all eaten down by dogs, and it's not very large, neither a creek or river or lake, and it's good for fish, and it doesn't give out scent because it's in the water. And we even have to brush with willow or spruce sprouts to get our scent away. And a long time ago, caribou fence we used to have. As many as people, they help each other to build a fence like this, like that, and then they could move it. People could move it. If they come this way, they come that way, and then they close it up on them. They get a lot of caribou that way. And I even learned from just doing this kind of thing. And I didn't know ashes from the campfire or from your stove could kill your scent because it's acid. And when they had that fence, they're very careful about keeping that opening clean. If they go get that caribou that they shot, or even before the caribou is coming, all these guys, all these people, they're up there mountain with ashes, so they won't leave scent behind. That's how careful they were. And I learned that. I thought that was pretty good. And so now Arctic Village, we live in a cabin because when we were forced to live in a village, we have to learn, they have to survive. That was the tree line, so they can build a cabin to live in, wood to burn, and maybe trapping, and that's why they chose Arctic Village. And Arctic Village is Gwich'in Nation, that is it's written right on my headband. It means a creek with high banks. There's a creek that runs into the river from all those lakes in the valley. That's how they're connected one way or another. And this creek is coming out, and every time fish run, they gather a lot of fish there. We still do, even though it runs right through the village. And sometime in the fall time when water gets down, those kids are down there, all icy and everything, they're just catching fish. And sometimes they do that sometimes. So that was a popular stopover when we were nomadic people. So that's where they chose to build Arctic Village. And then it's the valley, got all the lakes. If we have nothing else to eat, we're always going to have fish. And caribou, you can't depend on it unless you go where it might go, but we're no nomadic people anymore, so we have to wait which way they're going to come. And that valley where Arctic Village is, it tend to go through there. And caribou are not, we don't know why they migrate the way they are, even the scientists. I think we think it needs something to do with feeding pattern. So that's the reason they they decide to settle in the Arctic village today. That's what Arctic village is. I don't know where Arctic village came from, but we call it Gwich'in O, or short we call it O. So that's the name of Arctic village. And we do have K to 12, and we do have full-size gym. The school district within the interior where I live, there's 11 villages, one school district. And if you guys just imagine, miles and miles apart, those villages, and they come in very expensive. And they come in and they play, mainly now, Arctic Village, they do pretty good with volleyball. I don't know why. And, but our boys does pretty good. So, and people like to, kids from other villages like to go to Arctic Village. And once a year they have a culture camp, and they like to have it in Arctic Village. And we go, this time they went up on the mountain, and a lot of kids don't want to go home because it's just so nice up there. So back in 1988, we were threatened by the oil and gas development, and one elder, her name is Myra Kay. She's an elder. She's died a long time ago, but her concern, she said, when that happened back in the days, we gather and discuss for 4 days and come out with solution. That needs to happen. So they did, Arctic Village, June 5 to 10. And it was like a birth of a nation, rebirth of the nation. It was so awesome. People came in from Canada, all over, and some people paid their way. All 15 villages brought a chief, elder, and a youth representative to be represented there. And we had a whole agenda. We had agenda, and we had a big hall that was finished in 30 days. My brother was a foreman, and it's a big hall, and it got finished in 1 month. And there's so many people, they said, maybe this building is not going to hold many people, but it's still standing. So when they got together, the elder said, we're going to take over the meeting. This is not our way, and we don't want nothing on black and white. They tore the agenda and threw it away. And they said, everybody's going to talk their language. Nobody's going to take notes. Nobody's going to read from notes. And nobody's going to talk from their chair or anything. They circle around, and they put one mic right in the middle, and they put talking stick. And they said, are you going to talk with this talking stick? And this is what we survived by, wood, and many use we got for wood, because it's hard to get in our country. And so that was the talking stick. He said, so everybody talking about way back how they did things and this and that. It was really good. All the chiefs were happy. Everybody was happy that they also threw away. They also took everybody out that's media people. Only one media, which is owned by the Native American from Canada, and they start running, and they talk about 4 things. They said they're going to talk about protecting the caribou, keeping our language, and do something better with the border because it's keeping us separate, and the caribou, help, drug and alcohol. Drug and alcohol is a problem among our people. It's like that across the board. And so they chose drug and alcohol problem, caribou, to protect caribou, do something about border and keeping our language. And so it was going really good. And talking about old story and everything, everybody laughed and they dance all night, and then meeting gets started in the morning. Sometimes the dance is almost over. Well, anyway, but then the chiefs, they said, this is really good. The world needs to know about it. And it got to be in the black and white in order to be heard. So they separate themselves from the meeting of elders and went up on somebody's house, behind the house. They built a big fire, and they sat around and discussed what they can do to tell the world. So they passed a resolution to protect the caribou and do it in a good way and stay united and no compromise. And that's what and then the chief of the 15 villages said, we were too busy with our tribal members at home. We can't take this political arena. So we'll leave it up separate to people that's going to do it. So they chose 4 from Canada and 4 from US. And I was one of them that got chosen from US. And they said, these people are the one that's going to get into the political arena and tell our story. And it's been a long fight since 1988. And they said, we can't do, and the elders, they were weary about bringing people, traffic. That's another threat. And so they said, in order to solve or maybe help the traffic, we have to educate in a good way. We got to get them on our side. We got to help. We need their help. And that's how come they said we got to do it in a good way. And we have been doing it in a good way since 1988. We overcame many, many battles along with our friends. Right away, environmentalists came in and agreed with us. At first, they said, you gotta join Sierra Club, Wilderness Society, and Friends of the Earth, Audubon. But that's not who we are. We are the indigenous people of that land. We always been there. It's a human rights to us to prove that we're right to be a Gwich'in. We're right to be a caribou people. So now we work side by side. This organization, Gwich'in Steering Committee, is formed. It's a political group. We form it, and they put us there for our life, because it's our life that we're protecting, and there's no terms. So we went out, made friends, but we can't lobby because we're a nonprofit organization. Lobby is a bad word. I can't even say it. Well, anyway, so we work side by side. They got the lobbyists because they can afford it, and they make a coalition for Alaska interests, public interest land. It's called Alaska Wilderness League, and there's about 400 organizations throughout U.S. belong to that to protect, and one of them is Arctic Wildlife Refuge. So that's how we work with them. And us as a human rights, right to be who we are, the tribe could help us. So we do have a resolution with National Congress of American Indians. It's very important we keep that resolution. Very important, all the tribal chairmen vote to keep that resolution alive. Because we don't have that, Congress won't even talk to us. So we made sure we got that resolution. And we also have church right away. Methodist came in, Episcopal, and now even Catholic. So we're getting more like that. And Quakers came in right away. So that way we can express human rights. And we also have one time Women's Club resolution, because this is a nursing ground. This is a birthing ground. And women can deal, connection. So we do need women, and at one time, this is a woman issue, because that cow have to have, like when I had my boy, I like to be where it's clean. I like to be where it's private and quiet. And every mother feel that way. And every calf, every mother feels that way. Cow feels that way. All the animals feel that way. Nesting ground, fish spawn, all those are birthplace. We need to protect these places, not only the caribou calving ground. And where we're talking about Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, the coastal plain of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, the 1/10 of Arctic coast will be protected if we protect that. And the last of the ecosystem that still works. And the polar bear is threatened big time from the climate change. That's the only place he's going to be protected. On Canada, right away, the calving ground is not on their side, mainly. Sometimes they go over to Canada to have their calf. So for that reason, Canada made it a park. The government of Canada protect no development, Yukon Territory, Northwest Territory, but to the Congress, it's U.S. issue. They don't see it international, but they're there as for Gwich'in people. So we need, and right now it's very critical. I could be home, and that's my favorite place, but I'm here to tell the story. And as long as I feel up to it, I will go out there and do this, because it's so much education, so much bigger than, it's bigger than it covers many areas that will help all people. And I think it's very important. And with Trump, I think we can keep on making coalition, writing a support letter. This is a letter from the Congress people that voted right. They have a group support letter. We can do this. Anybody can do this, like what I'm doing now. And a friend of mine just did it in New York, and he invited me, and that's how I got. He's just a photographer. He likes pictures. He likes animal. He likes caribou. He likes polar bear. So he got a place in a library to do his art show, and we get to have a reception. We have more people than we thought. It was good. We could all do that. And I just want to thank everybody that made this possible. I saw you, Salish Sea. It's very good. I wish I could, it's powerful. Wow. It could be even more powerful if we just all come together like this and write letters and make songs, go to radio, newspaper, magazine, write letters. back when we were fighting energy bill, we pile up phone calls to the Congress. We pile up letters to the Congress. All these congressional people, they're put there. If you want to go, if you have appointment with them, it's been recorded. If they got a letter, they're going to have to record it. That's their job. So we could do it, and there's so many people to thank to make this possible. And Kim, my friend, him and I just talked and said, we should do this, we should do that. And then this Bob back in New York, that photographer, said, let's do this, let's do that. And I just kind of told my supporter, Spirit Alliance Leadership Program out of New York. I told them about that story, said, you know what, people need to be out there, and it's very critical, and not only us, everybody, and we need to do this. And they said, okay, and he gave me the reason why. So I just wrote up about what me and Tim were talking about, and Bob, and then we have another leader here on this program, Evergreen. Said, if you connect with her, then we can finance a ticket and housing, and that's how I got here. So it is possible that we can all do that. And and that Bob back in New York, he been to Arctic Village, he been to the calving ground, and he know, he got a nice picture. All these are his, he donated it, and this is all I have now. So people that can have it, you know, can have it. And we got a little CD out over here, Gwich'in Women Speak. And I had a lot of it, but I forgot to pack them. And then Arctic Refuge CD is here in Bellingham, Sounding of the Planet. And all these artists that's on there, they gave their free time to develop this CD. And the whole CD is donated for Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to protect the Gwich'in way of life. And there's a lot of good artists there. I sang one song, and I'm going to get to sing it. This is kind of like technical, like sound like there's more than one Sarah. But now you're going to hear it for Sarah. Well, anyway, I got that. And later on, I have a helper. I got caribou, smoked caribou, this is all I have now. And caribou, there's nothing added, just smoke outside in a fresh, cool, Gwich'in country mountain. And then I got Labrador tea. If you smell it, this is how the tundra smells. And the tundra is very annoying. I mean, like I told him, we went out hiking for 7 days. We had to put up with, if you don't know the country, you could end up in that tussock, they call it. It's a big lump of grass. How do you smell this? But, and I know the way, so we kind of avoided that. But when we were leaving back to the village, there was one, resting one place. There was one, and I told him, Dana and John, I don't know, there was I don't know how many of us there resting. I said, hey, Tussock, I said. There's Tussock. And I said, oh, you guys could take it home for a house pet. Oh, no, we don't want it. We'll remember it, they said. So it's kind of harsh condition to walk in a tussock. But you do smell this. And then I also got caribou. Yeah, if anybody want to try to spread it around. I know Kim wants some more a day now. And I got this picture. Anybody want to look at a picture album real briefly? And I'll make you guys famous by signing my autograph book. Everybody to sign my autograph book. And then there's many people out there, like I was talking about these environmentalists, they're our friends, and some of those people work very hard. Sometimes when things get really critical, like we go out and educate at the Congress all day, and all night we get on the phone. And that's the kind of people we have out there working very hard. Many people and many Native supporting us very strongly. I just got a resolution from Salish Sea. And my friend here, he's a Salish, and Robert. And he said, Salish mean what?
We come from our ancestors.
Yeah, for the ancestor. Yeah. So we do have people like that throughout that really work really hard because it'll protect they say that, a lot of people say that Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, the coastal plain of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, there is no oil. I study oil in order to speak like this. And what I learned there is that if there's mountain, there's no oil, there's gas. But there might be oil out in the ocean. But it's too close to the mountain. So a lot of people say it's just a precedent that going to take over other public interest land. If they can get in there, show that they can do it, then they can get into Yukon Flat in Alaska, Bristol Bay. There is oil because it's in a flat, it's a wetland. So that's where they want to go. In fact, I can't understand this whole issue because I think it's just a power game. And because I was told in my study that we only own 5% of oil, world's oil, and we're burning more than that. Even if we drill all the oil that the United States own, we're still not going to meet our needs. What we need to do is go alternative energy, bicycle, no, I'm just kidding. And all the way, yeah. And that will do it. So, here in Washington State, it's been good for Arctic Refuge. It's not a target state. We're target state is always Ohio, Florida, Maine now, and I don't know. You have to, they have an office here or a contact person here, Alaska Wilderness League. I don't know every detail of what's going on, but I just go tell, I can't keep up with everything. So I go around telling my traditional story, how important it is to Gwich'in, and I could do that. But when it comes to people are working really hard. Campbell is. Campbell speak at the Congress for the Gwich'in, for the Arctic Wildlife Refuge. We need to thank him, thank her. I was even thinking about go to her office and I say, hey, I'm here just to thank you for your work, because she is that way, and she is working hard. And so is, what's the House Speaker, that minority, what's her name? I got it. I have to remember lots. So we do have a letter from a support letter, and sometimes you could even do that business that agrees with us and have this kind of letter, and that will help. So now, caribou skin hut dance, we say, what's that name? When we talk about Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, the caribou that goes there to have their calf, we call that that means a sacred place where the life begins. So when we sing caribou skin hut dance, it's a song, it's a prayer. All our songs are prayers. Tonight, I think I have time to sing 2 songs. I usually have one song to sing, enough time. So how long am I on?
Well, we have the room until 6 o'clock. So we can take however.
What time is it now? Oh, cool. Good. One time I spoke for 3 hours at the University of Alaska, and they like it. And for 3 hours. And then I went to another class to talk another hour. I keep seeing same people, same. I said, are you taking this class too? And they said, oh no, we just want to listen to you. So skin hut, caribou skin hut, we say in what's that mean caribou? What's that name? That means caribou skin hut. We dance in the clockwise, and women dance very gracefully, like this. Hey. Well, anyway, not really. We dance like that because the caribou, our land is bunchy, and moss and tussock, and caribou just kind of bouncy around. So that's what female do. And men, they dance and fight. They fight. No. Over the female. No, I'm just kidding. And making all kinds of noise. It's fun. We go, hey, he. When the he comes down, that means the door to the flaps with the door skin hut open and close. That means you welcome to our skin hut. Welcome to Salish land, the sacred land of Salish land. Welcome to sacred land of Gwich'in, to my house. To Bellingham. It's been really good. I feel welcome. That's why I have to sing a welcome song. Our indigenous people are like that. They welcome people. We're generous. We're sharing. It got us into a lot of trouble, but we're not going to give it up. That's what makes us a special people. And keep our nation healthy and strong and sharing and welcome, and it's a prayer to keep our culture alive and healthy. And now I'm going to sing another song, which is I was wearing a raven lunatic t-shirt yesterday, and Robert was saying that he was Harvard Indian, so we just kind of make it like we're in the Western too, and we also in our own traditional land, and we got to live together, and we got to go forward and make this place a better place to live. We sing raven dance. We call it Detret. Detret means raven. Raven, when God, Creator, made raven, He made raven to keep the earth clean. And we honor raven for keeping the earth clean. And that's his job. He doesn't know anything else. All he eats on is what is ever left over. And sometimes we think he's a nuisance, but that's what he does. That's what he is. And we honor raven. And so what we do is that when we dance, again we start dance clockwise, way of life, the way the suns go, the star, the moon. Well, anyway. What raven does is that the story goes, a hunter shot a caribou, and he couldn't carry the whole caribou back to his camp, so he left some behind and carried some of it back to his camp, village, whatever. And then he came back, and there was a lot of raven eating on his meat. When he showed up, they were scared of humans, so they flew away. And so he picked up the rest of his meat as much as he can. There's some scraps here and there maybe. And then he took the rest of it home. So they came back fighting for that leftover. And it's really fun to imitate the raven and honor them, to keep the earth clean. And the words is saying, why don't they do it that way in the first place? Hey, that means, that's his job, to keep the earth clean. And if you could keep the earth clean, then you're okay. I'm just kidding. So, it's not a bad, it's really a bad time for our Gwich'in people because they got opened up for oil and gas development all over the place under the Trump administration, and it's critical. They done it fast, and they did it to the public interest land, and it got to be approved by the people because it belongs to the public. It's a public land. So we got work to do to protect our way of life, to protect the water, to protect all animals, all life, and our life, because it's going to pollute everything. And like we just got told by somebody that up in Canada, past Athabascan Lake, from the leeches getting into water, and those native people that lives there, they have to carry their own bottle to go out to go hunting. They can't get water from the creek they used to, and they can only be out there as long as they have enough water. And everything else, fish are polluted, and I think we got a lot of work to do, and that's why I'm here, and I think we can do it because it's the right thing to do, just like President Clinton used to say. He was right. So for so many to next Halloween, or not even a Halloween, maybe we have to get it this way. Go get him. Go get him. That's why I brought this. Okay, let's go get him. Thank you. Is there any more?